What is going on? What is going on, guys? Y'all know exactly who I am here. It is the Spotlight Sports Network, and we are here to recap the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this was a crazy slow game last night. Definitely a crazy slow game last night. It was definitely something to not really look forward to. I thought it would be more of a healthier game, but at the same time, I have to think about it this way: that the Philadelphia Eagles are not the same football team from last year. Me personally, I don't think they are. I think they struggled on offense just like they did in the NFC divisional game versus this actual team. And it's been a lot that's been going on with the Eagles in this preseason, not winning games, not really gelling a lot on offense. Defense is stout. The defense is great, and that's what I learned from the Philadelphia Eagles going into this game, that the defense was going to be great. It was just the offense that I had a real issue with, and I still have an issue with the offense. There's no Alshon Jeffrey, but Nelson Aguilar definitely had a great game. So let's just get into some box scores and get into some insight of this game here. For the Philadelphia Eagles side, Nick Foles was 19 for 34 for 117 yards and 1 interception. Nelson Aguilar was 1 for 1 for 15 yards. All y'all know is actually the Philly special that they ran last night. I thought they would never ever be able to run it again, and they end up doing it again, and Nick Foles did it right in stride. He could have went for more yards in that game with that catch, with the throw from Nelson Aguilar. You do have Jay Ajayi with 15 carries for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. His longest run was 11 yards. They definitely run Jay Ajayi a lot. I felt like he could have had more than 15 carries, but I know you have to have Corey Clement and Darren Sproles get some carries as well. It's like a three-headed back there, so definitely something to look forward to. But he did have 62 yards for 2 touchdowns. And then you had Corey Clement with 5 receptions, 26 yards. His longest was 21, and that happened in the fourth quarter to put them in position to win the game. And it was just a lot of inconsistency on the receiving core for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles definitely had Zach Ertz with 5 receptions for 48 yards, but he did have a few big drops. Definitely a few big drops there in the game that could have, ended the game there in the fourth quarter or in the third quarter at that time. So we do have Nelson Aguilar with 8 receptions for 33 yards, and I'm not really understanding why he has 8 receptions for 33 yards. I think Nelson Aguilar, he plays good in the slot and he plays well in short yardage, but he needs to get some big bombs down the field, something across the middle, or something outside of Mike Wallace. Like that, I just don't understand. You have 8 receptions for 33 yards. That's just kind of tells that the Eagles was throwing really short in that segment. It like they was throwing really short to him in this game, and I really didn't understand why they were doing that. Me personally, I felt like that. Hold on. I actually felt like that they really messed up there in that nature of going into the game. I just felt like that they just should have given him the ball more. I felt like 8 receptions, he should at least have 76 yards or 80 yards, but 33 yards is definitely unacceptable. Darren Sproles had 4 receptions for 22 yards. I kind of see that. And then you have a few things go on in this game. You had Matt Ryan that was 21 for 43, 251 yards and no touchdowns and an interception. Devontae Freeman, 6 attempts for 36 yards. Tevin Coleman, 9 attempts for 19 yards and 1 touchdown. And that's the problem with the Atlanta Falcons right now. That is the problem with them right now, is that the fact that the Atlanta Falcons is they used to be so run heavy to open things up for Julio Jones. And I think they rely on Julio Jones too much. And I don't understand why. Why do you have to rely on him so much on this situation? Like, I don't understand why the I don't understand why Matt Ryan and that offense has to rely on Julio Jones. It happened in a divisional game, and it happened last night. And it happened last night to a point where we got down to the same scenario, and 3 times you go to Julio Jones in the end zone knowing you have a Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, and an Austin Hooper. But you want to go with Julio Jones because he's the star of your team. But you notice every time that y'all get to that end zone, he's not in the game or he's getting double teamed. So it was one play where Matt Ryan tried to force it in between 2 people, knowing the fact that Mohamed Sanu beat the inside person. He beat the inside person. You could have threw it there, but the offense is so focused on Julio Jones in between Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, like you really didn't have those many carries. You didn't even have 20 plus carries, combined with them. Like, it was just crazy. Like, it just didn't make no sense to me that you only had 15 carries. 15 carries in between those 2. Those cats need to run the ball. They need to run the football, and they were successful running the football. Or, like, it's just crazy how it looks. Like, this stat, the box score for the Atlanta Falcons, it just looks weird to me. It just looks crazy to me. I don't know what's going on with this offense. But Julio Jones had 10 receptions, 169 yards. And if you look at the rest of the receiving core, Tevin Coleman, 1 reception. Austin Hooper, 3 receptions. Sanu, 4 receptions. Devontae Freeman, 3 receptions. 10 receptions went straight to Julio Jones. You need to open up your playbook a little bit more to the Atlanta Falcons, because don't get me wrong, the Eagles defense was stout. They were definitely stout in this game. They was definitely stout. But at the same time, Matt Ryan and Steve Sarkisian, they got to come to a agreement or something, because, like, this is crazy how you only run the ball 15 times. You only run the ball 15 times, and you're not going to win football games that way. You're not going to win football games that way. And it showed last night. But at the end of the day, it was week 1. They got to get the adjustments, and they got to make those adjustments going into week 2. So first downs, you had the Eagles with 18 first downs against Atlanta Falcons 16. The Eagles, in a difference in that, they had 7 rushing first downs compared to the Falcons' 4 rushing touchdowns. I mean, of course, passing the Atlanta Falcons did beat them in that, but third down efficiency, was the key right here in this game. The third down efficiency was 26% for the Atlanta Falcons. 26% against the Eagles, where it was 15%, where they was 8 for 16 on third down. Falcons 4 for 15 on third downs. They was 0 for 1 on the fourth down efficiency. That's what made me go wrong in this first quarter with the Atlanta Falcons. Why would you go for it on fourth down in the first quarter? That really hurts you. You know that, right? That really hurts you when you ended the game. It hurts you. It didn't affect that Matt Bryant missed a field goal. It's just a lot that we learned from Thursday night's game, that a lot has to be done. This is only week 1, but at the same time, some things you just do not do in week 1. And going on fourth down in the fourth quarter, that really messed y'all. That really messed y'all. Really screwed y'all from winning this football game. Because just in case if you did get it on fourth down, this score might be absolutely different. It might not be Eagles 18, Falcons 12. You might end up having 2 or 3 touchdowns on your radar from this actual game. But shout out to the Eagles, though. The Eagles definitely did great. I just don't like the Eagles' offense. The Eagles' offense just was not that great to me. But let's get into total yards. Total yards overall, you had the Eagles with 232 total yards, with the Falcons with 299, almost 300 total yards in this game. And, they had a lot going on with this game, man. They had passing yard. The net passing yards was 225 to 119 for the Philadelphia Eagles. So many kickoffs, so many turnovers, but this is the killer for me. This is the killer for me in this game. The Atlanta Falcons had 16 penalties. 16 penalties, unnecessary penalties that could have been avoided a lot of the stuff was pretty bogus on both sides because the Eagles had 11 penalties, but this was like the most penalties I saw in a season opener ever. But we could go to play by play, and I feel like with this here that the Eagles defensive style, I didn't know they was that great, honestly. I didn't know they was that great. I didn't know they had Haloti Ngata, and I was like, wow. Haloti Ngata played very, very well tonight. The defense played very well. Ronald Darby, let me just say, Ronald Darby, he most of the night he kind of had Julio Jones shut down, but we all knew that Julio was going to get his stats. He know he was going to get his actual stuff, like his yardage and his touchdowns, but he didn't get no touchdowns last night. But he got 10 receptions for 169 yards. So whoever had Julio Jones in their fantasy lineup, I salute you for putting them in the fantasy lineup, because Eagles are a tough defense from the back end to the linebackers and to the front line. So even when having a tough defense, Julio Jones was still able to put up the stats and put up the numbers for him to try to help them win the game. But my problem with the Atlanta Falcons is that you gotta get others involved to get defenses off of Julio Jones, and that's the issue with the Atlanta Falcons. Steve Sarkisian was feeding them, but you wasn't feeding the weapons around you like a Tevin Coleman and a Devontae Freeman and a Calvin Ridley or even Mohamed Sanu. Like, you have the wide receiver core to actually win this game. Period. You have it. The thing is that you got to open up your playbook a little bit more, because you was going to Julio Jones a lot. You was going to him a lot, and that's definitely the way y'all were going. But at the same time, you have a Calvin Ridley that could have made a better debut if you would threw him the ball. Mohamed Sanu is a veteran in this NFL, just like Julio Jones. You gotta get these cats more involved to get off of Julio Jones. Period. And Steve Sarkisian, you have to be more creative in your playbook. You have to be more creative, because you went to Julio Jones three times every time you went to the red zone, and you ended up with a field goal or no points at all. So something has to change there. Like Dan Quinn, something has to change in this offense. Period. It has to change, because that's what y'all worked on all season, was the red zone. Y'all worked on all season working on your red zone, and it still didn't do anything for you in last night's game, because y'all decide to pass in the red zone, where you got two running backs that could run in between the tackles, between the 10-yard line and the goal line. Like, I'm not understanding why y'all have to do that. I just didn't understand that. So offensively, the Falcons can be way better. We need to see that Falcons team that we saw from 2 years ago, where it was high power and the ball was shared around. Matt Ryan, I understand that you had an okay passing game, but it just didn't work out for you because you were relying on Julio. It wasn't relying on everybody else, though. Me personally, that you gotta open up the playbook, and you have to open it up for Calvin Ridley and Mohamed Sanu to get the ball as well. You drafted Calvin Ridley for a reason. You needed another weapon, and that's what you have in him at the Atlanta Falcons. You have to utilize him. I understand it was his first game, but you gotta let him get his feet wet. Period. You gotta let him get his feet wet. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. So let's definitely get into the Eagles offense. Now, you know that a lot of key pieces was out of this offense tonight. It's no Trey Burton. He's over in Chicago. And then you have Alshon Jeffrey saying he might be out for a couple more weeks. So that definitely hurts the wide receiver core. But I feel like it was too conservative last night for the Atlanta Falcons. It was definitely not Atlanta Falcons, but the Philadelphia Eagles. I felt like it was too conservative. I feel like Jay Ajayi could have had at least 25 carries last night. Just the way they was officially running the football. Me personally, I feel like with Nelson Aguilar, he should get more yardage in his catches. 8 receptions for 33 yards is unacceptable. Period. It's unacceptable. But the Philly special, like when I was not expecting the Philly special to come out on the kickoff. That was crazy to me. That was really great that to see that actually happen, and not to have Trey Burton do it. Then you have Nelson Aguilar do it. The catch was definitely great from Nick Foles. He actually went out and did it. Everybody saying they stole from the Patriots. You can say they stole from the Patriots all they want, but did the Patriots run it effectively? No. The Patriots didn't run it effectively at all. So with the Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons, absolutely, yeah, they actually did it correctly. Yeah, they did it great. Period. Like, you can't get no better. You could not get no better than that whatsoever. But I do want to say this though. That the Philadelphia Eagles, we do not have to worry about them defensively. Only time we have to worry about the Eagles defensively is Jalen Mills. If Jalen Mills get beat on a double move like he did against Julio, and knowing the fact that was a catch with Julio, I don't know why they call that not a catch, but that was a catch for Julio. But me per se, if you put a double move on Jalen Mills, he could be beat. Ronald Darby is the number one corner for the Philadelphia Eagles. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. They are the number one. He's the number one corner over there with Sidney Jones and McLeod and Mills. They got a nice little back end with their front end with Michael Bennett and Haloti Ngata. Then Bradham's not playing right now, so you got some young guys coming in there as well. And they played really solid. Last night. And defensively, they kept the Falcons off the board at the same time, but the Falcons didn't do anything to utilize the penalties that the Eagles had, especially the illegal contact at the end of the game. Y'all did not utilize that at all. I don't understand how I just don't understand how you get the illegal contact and then you go back to Julio Jones. They knew who you were going to when you actually got to the illegal contact. They already knew what you're going to get with Julio Jones. So why throw him the football? You have to create plays for other people to help to get away from Julio. So as far as the Philadelphia Eagles defense, I salute you. You did great. You only allowed 12 points against the Falcons. 12 points against the Falcons. Crazy. Let's get in I want to get into some other things too. I want to get into it. Like, why does the Philadelphia Eagles, knowing that Carson Wentz is not a part, he's not physically able to watch, not physically able to play right now, Nick Foles needs to start being more mobile. I don't know what happened to him. He used to be mobile last year, but he was not mobile tonight. He was mobile when it was needed, but a couple sacks could have been avoided from Nick Foles if he just would have stepped up into the pocket, or he just would have just slid left or slid right to the pocket for him to get that football off. But as far as the breakdown of this game, it was definitely a great football game. It ended very well with a lot of drama for, deja vu all over again with this game. And it came down to the last play again, just like what happened in the NFC divisional game last year. These two teams, when they play each other, they definitely have great competition. Great competition. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But this was definitely a great game, and I do not want to keep y'all too long because at the end of the day, this game happened yesterday. Now we have to start with Sunday's games. Sunday's 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games. If you got DraftKings, if you got FanDuel, if you have Yahoo Fantasy, ESPN Fantasy, NFL Fantasy, get ready because NFL is back. Football is back. And now it's time for us to get ready for Sunday's game. I will be going live later on tonight or tomorrow morning to give y'all my 4 p.m. picks. If y'all did not see my 1 p.m. picks and my Thursday picks, please go back to the videos and look at our picks with me and my nephew, Young Commentator. We have 2 videos up. We got another one coming up for our record predictions for 2018-2019 football teams. So please get these likes up. Like our channel. Definitely subscribe to it. The Philadelphia Eagles have defeated the Atlanta Falcons 18-12. I am Darion from the Spotlight Sports Talk, and we see y'all in the next live video or in the next recorded video. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We see y'all later. Peace.